Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. Edward, wow.
Yeah. I mean, you just saw something very special. You saw a very, very special fighter tonight in Joe Opetaia. I mean, I'm very proud of Jordan Thompson. You know, I mean, he was out of his depth. We knew that, but we knew he had the power. And I think he gained a lot of fans tonight by showing a lot of heart. First round, end of the first round, looked like he was done. Came back, dug his heels in, landed some good shots, held his feet, but just got overrun by an exceptional fighter. And I said in the ring, you know, we've seen some special fighters in this country, like, you know, Golovkin, Gervonta Davis, Beterbiev, and I really believe that Opetaia is going to go on to be that kind of level. I think he's a special fighter. I think he's the best in the division, unquestionably. And, you know, we saw a special fighter and a great fight as well, to be honest with you, like a great little couple of back. In fact, you know, a little bit, we're talking about Gennady Golovkin, it reminded me a little bit of Benn against Golovkin against Brook, where Kell got overrun and then he would just hold his feet and have a bit of success, but then get overrun again, do you know what I mean? And it was like every time Jordan held his feet and let him go, you'd go, oh, and he'd just get caught with a, you know, he's a very good fighter, Opetaia.
We saw that Bradis fight. I think a lot of people sort of knew just how good off that Jay Opetaia was, an unknown quantity out of Australia, came in, had a career best performance like that. But a lot of questions, obviously the injury suffered in that fight, the amount of time off. He looked like a fresh fighter who'd fought a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he came out with a good quote in the ring where he said, I've been upgraded with my operation. You know, obviously he has a steel plate in his jaw and he believes, or he's convinced himself that he's been strengthened now. So, you know, sometimes you hope and you pin your hopes on the fact that a fighter might be weaker or he might be lose his confidence, but clearly not Jai Opetaia, and like a really good performance.
Next for Jordan Thompson, is it moving up to heavyweight? We know that cut is an awful lot. He's huge at the weight. Now for heavyweight for him?
100%. I just said to him, now you can move up. He went, oh, thank you. You know, I mean, this guy is an absolute monster. He loses a huge amount of weight. He does it safely, but it's like the levels he has. And you look at the size of him, like, and it's going to affect your punch resistance. Do you know what I mean? Like, and some people will say, yeah, but will he have the punch resistance when he moves up to heavyweight? I think yes is the answer, because he's going to be able to not dehydrate. He's probably going to end up being 17 stone heavyweight. You know, you look at people like Tony Bellew at light heavyweight, had very little resistance, move up at cruiser, start taking shots from David Haye, and, you know, the chin improves. And I think that'll be the case for Jordan. And I think he's going to have a good career at heavyweight, but he had to roll the dice tonight, and we're proud of him.
Irish Bradis, the madman, was here tonight. Do we expect that fight next?
Yeah, he's mandatory. You know, I mean, look, Jai wants to unify, no doubt about that. Chris Billum-Smith, any of the champions. But at the same time, Bradis is the mandatory, and he will probably be called next. So probably have to deal with that, and then we'll go from there.
Run through the rest of the card, please.
Yeah, I thought Chev Clark against Vasil Duka was a great fight. I mean, you know, it's exactly also remember that was Chev's 7th fight. So fantastic performance. Just the kind of fight he needs before he moves into those big championship fights. Thought Ellie Scotney boxed really well against tough opponent. Rhiannon Dixon was fantastic, particularly closing the fight out as well. Jimmy Sains, fantastic. All action.
What a crowd for him, by the way.
Really good, fantastic. And all the before the bell guys, George Liddard, great win. Ibrahim Suleiman, I thought, was really exciting as well. Maisie Rose boxed really well. I thought Shannon Ryan was outstanding. Great card and a fantastic main event. Great buzz for the main event, like a proper fight, you know. And now we move on to Wood against Warrington.
Chris Billum-Smith was here tonight. Now, he was obviously watching stablemate Ellie Scotney. When I spoke to him about that Lawrence Okoli fight, he said he genuinely doesn't have a clue what his next fight is. He wants to fight in November, but he hasn't heard anything. Are you surprised to hear that?
If you're supposed to fight in November and you haven't heard anything yet, it's a bit worrying. Like, I mean, unless Lawrence Okoli's been absolutely horrifically advised, he will have a rematch clause. And if he's got a rematch clause, he's going to enforce his rematch clause, regardless of whether the broadcaster wants the fight or not. It's tough, really. If you've got a contract, you've got a contract. And if I'm Lawrence Okoli, I'm saying announce that rematch now. But if they try and get out of that rematch, then we would love to go straight into the unification. But again, Bradis and Nisse won't like me saying that, because we know we've got to fight them as well. So we'll see.
Eddie, there's been so much talk about Eubank, Ben Eubank, however you want to put it. December 23rd is the provisional date. A lot of talk about Abu Dhabi at the minute. Does that put the UK out of the picture? I know earlier you said to me, because the Fury Usyk fight goes to Saudi, you want to do it more in the UK?
Many times I've got to say, we want to do the fight in the UK. It'll be up to the board. We'll see what happens.
Okay, finally from me, on the Fury Usyk stuff, December 23rd, if that is the date, you won't clash with that, I assume?
We'll see. We'll have to speak to the board about the UK. I want to try and bring a big fight to the UK. Seems like all these big fights are deserting us at the moment, so we'll see.
I can tell you're ready to get off. I'm losing your concentration. Lastly, there was someone here, we won't mention who tonight, but who was there? Who were they most looking forward to seeing here?
Yes, my daughter did turn up and she did say, will I meet Parsons? And it's absolutely disgusted me now. Fuck off.
All right, Sean, see you later.
Sorry, Sean.